Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we are going to be talking about General Chaos. This is back when EA used to publish good games. You remember that? When they had some creativity and whatnot? Yeah, it's been a long time since then, hasn't it? So General Chaos is a real-time strategy game. And it's a pretty fun one. Like, it's super cartoonish, it's hilarious. I love just the way you do everything in this game. So what you're doing here is you're choosing between one of like 4 different squads of soldiers, and you're fighting against your enemy squad of soldiers. Each group has like their own weapons, their own specialties, that sort of thing. And it's pretty cool to just see where things go in this game. I don't think I'm all that great at it, but it is just a very fun game to play. This is one of the games that I never had the instruction manual for. I've always had the box, but never got the manual for it. It wouldn't have explained too much, but it would have given me the story, because there's apparently a plot in this game. I have no idea why, but there is a plot here. So you're playing as General Chaos, and you're fighting General Havoc. The backstory for this game is that Chaos and Havoc used to be brothers, and Chaos got a comic book that was apparently really rare, and Havoc decided he wanted it, and so they fought over it and ended up destroying the comic book. And that kind of like drove a wedge between them. And then from there, they became military dictators of different countries and decided to fight a war against each other because they hate each other over a comic book that got destroyed many years before any of this went down. And during that war, nobody could really get an advantage, so they decided to kind of simplify things and just use like these smaller squads of troops in order to fight back. And yeah, that's how you end up with the game that you have. I have no idea why they needed to do that, but it's kind of funny, and it makes the game just a little bit better than what it is. So as you can see, this is kind of like an isometric angle. You can move your soldiers around and kind of put them in the best positions to fight. Or you can just sort of like, randomly press buttons. The thing that annoyed me a little bit was that you had to actually press a button for them to start shooting. There's no friendly fire in this game, so yeah, I don't really see why it matters that much. I remember playing it and just, constantly pressing buttons and praying for the best. That's not really going to get you where you need to go. You do kind of have to, strategize this out a little bit. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but, it's still a fun game for what it is, and there's just a lot of weird stuff going on in it. So the different soldiers you can get are the machine gunner, flamethrower, you can get a grenadier, you can get a bazooka dude, and you can get a demolitionist. I never found the bazooka guy to be super useful. The flamethrower guy is very useful. Grenadier can be kind of helpful. The demolition guy is just like a more powerful version of the grenadier. And the machine gunner, he's pretty good as well. So playing through this again, it took me a little bit just to kind of get back to where I was, where I kind of knew what was going on. And I realized that this was a lot more fun when there were more people playing the game. Like if you had 2-player mode on, it was just a lot more fun to go through. And playing it by myself, I was kind of like, well, it's okay, but if there was somebody else here, this would be a lot better. And unfortunately, I haven't found anything to say this game was re-released or anything like that. So, yeah, it was just a one-off by this company that, EA then published. And if you didn't know about it, you didn't know about it. It was kind of a shame, because this is a lot of fun. EA did this with a bunch of games where they would publish a game and then there would never be a sequel to it. And it kind of sucked. I kind of wish that, General Chaos would get the same treatment that, like, Mutant Football League did, where you had Mutant Hockey League, Mutant Football League, and then, like, 20 years passed where you just didn't have anything, and then they re-released it for just all the systems. It would be great if somebody would re-release this, or make like an updated version, and kind of like add some better controls and whatnot, because it's kind of lacking in that part. Because on the battle scene, you're just sort of telling them where to move to, and you don't really have a whole lot of control. Once you get into like these one-on-one fights that you see here, then it's pretty easy. You just keep on punching the guy, and normally it knocks him out. However, sometimes when you knock him down, they'll, pull out a gun and shoot you, which kind of sucks. But for the most part, it's pretty fun to get through all this. When you get your soldiers knocked down, you can have a medic run out and get them. That will kind of bring them back. It seems almost at random that can happen, because sometimes you don't really get that option. A lot of this stuff just sort of feels at random when your characters die, which kind of sucks, but I don't know. I guess it's great when it happens for you, and when it happens against you, it's the worst thing in the entire world. That's pretty much the best way that I can put it. It does show you at the end of this, like, how many casualties you had. So these guys are supposed to represent like a certain number of soldiers, I think, and sometimes they do that and sometimes they don't. That's one of the things that kept coming up whenever I was playing this. Sometimes stuff happens and sometimes it doesn't happen. The game feels very random, but it's a lot of fun. God, so how did I find this game, you might ask? So we found this game through a friend of mine way back when I just started collecting games in high school. For some odd reason, the four of us, myself, Drew, Alex, and Justin, we all went out to this like old retro game store, and all of us bought a Sega Genesis. I have absolutely no idea why, but we all ended up buying a Sega Genesis. And Justin was the one who told us about General Chaos. We had never heard of it, so I guess Justin had rented it at one point. And yeah, we went on this kind of a camping trip, sort of, and we plugged in our Genesis because it really wasn't camping, because we had a camper and we had electricity and everything else. Whatever. I'm not going to get into weird semantics and of all that stuff. It was on a camping trip, and we brought a Sega Genesis. We played an awful lot of Risk, just an absurd amount of Risk during this camping trip. And then Justin got us to play General Chaos. And it was a lot more fun than what I thought it was going to be. Because when I first saw it, I was like, I have no idea what's happening. I don't know what's going on. It looks like it should be fun, but I don't understand it. That was kind of how I felt with General Chaos. And I still kind of feel that way. It's a lot of fun, but it is exactly what the name says. It's just chaos. And when you win, it's great. When you lose, you're not really sure why all the time, but you had fun while you were playing it. And after that camping trip, I went out and started looking for it. Because that's usually what happened when I was collecting games. One of us would find something, and we'd go over to each other's houses, we'd play it, and then at least in my case, I would go out and look for it. I don't think everybody did, but I definitely did. They would kind of like just rent consoles, and I was the one that was collecting and kind of keeping all of my stuff that I would buy. Yeah, I guess that was just something that I kept doing. I'm sure all of them probably got rid of their consoles by now, but yeah, I still love this stuff. So yeah, I got a lot of pretty fond memories of General Chaos. Just trying to figure out the game, learning about it from, my friends and whatnot, and just having fun messing around with something that I really didn't understand and trying to learn how the game played and learn what the different controls and everything were. Kind of reminds me of those days when, it was a little bit more economical to buy these games. Now they're stupidly overpriced. But back then you could pick these things up for cheap and you could have a lot of fun with them. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap things up. I don't want to ramble on too long about General Chaos or anything like that. So, let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you made it this far and you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.